Noise exists in all workplaces. As noise is generated from its source, it is transmitted in the form of sound waves which flow in all directions through the air and structural vibrations. The risk to hearing from noise exposure depends on how loud the noise is and the length of exposure time. One indication of when noise becomes a problem is when people have to raise their voices to be heard, or when they experience ringing in their ears after being exposed to a noisy environment. The risk to hearing from noise exposure depends on how loud the noise is and the length of exposure time. Workers are at risk of hearing loss when they are in the path of the sound waves and are exposed to the noise levels exceeding 85 dBA for more than 8 hours. The higher the noise level, the shorter the exposure time needed before damage to hearing occurs. The degree of hearing loss that a worker experiences may also have a serious impact on their ability to work and earn an income, particularly if they are unable to meet fitness and functional abilities to perform regular and safety critical duties at sea, as required by Transport Canada regulations. The good news is that noise-induced hearing loss is preventable. So, what can be done to try and mitigate the occupational hazards related to noise exposure in the fishing industry? Harvesters can look for the source of the noise and for ways to dampen down the sound in their vessels.
One good thing that we've done over the years is that we've changed our ropes. I mean, you couldn't hear anybody that was standing next to you. There was just grinding and grinding. Now a lot of the harvesters have changed to what's called a poly steel rope or a super Dan rope. And actually, when you're hauling the rope itself and hauling the patch, you can't hear nothing.
Some ways to dampen down the noise include applying insulation to the walls and ceiling in the engine room, mounting engines and generators on rubber mounts rather than on rigid mounts, doing regular maintenance on machinery and lubricating moving parts, adding shock-absorbing material to the deck to mitigate the noise from impacts of the fishing gear, and properly insulating exhaust gas ducts and installing sound mufflers. It is also important to educate fish harvesters about the adverse effects of the everyday noises they may be exposed to. Training is mandatory for workers who may be exposed to sound above the exposure limit. This training should include information on the following: health effects of noise exposure, engineering and administrative controls to eliminate or reduce noise exposure, fitting, maintenance, and care of hearing protection where required, and review of the vessel's hearing conservation procedure. Careful consideration must be given to the type of hearing protection worn by fish harvesters, as some devices interfere with their speech, as well as their capability to hear warning signals and alarms. Fish harvesters work in a very dangerous environment and need their wits about them.
The noise do affect my ability to do my job because I'm nervous. You have to have your wits about you if there's something going on, if she takes a roll or whatever, or if there's a pot goes over the side or whatever, you have to be very alert.
The researchers, in collaboration with fish harvesters, tried different hearing protection devices during the study. They found the preferred hearing protector among fish harvesters were the earmuffs that allowed for communication. Many harvesters involved in this project echoed the same sentiments. They had no idea their hearing was being damaged by normal, everyday noises they took for granted as a part of their job. Their loss was gradual and physically painless, but the effects of their hearing loss will be felt for the rest of their lives.
It affects everything. Your everyday life, your own life. It's hard maybe to understand for somebody that doesn't have hearing loss, but it even creates friction in a marriage, if you can believe that.
I was always tilting my head, and if there was other people in the room, I wasn't sure what the conversation was that they were saying. And my husband said, like, you're always saying what?
I have a hearing loss of probably 25%, and I never gave it any kind of thought whatsoever. But now that you're getting a little older and you have other people around you trying to find out what they're saying, and you're blaming it on them, they're not speaking loud enough, when really and truly it's my hearing loss.
It's communication, for the most part, is communication with other people. It's frustrating for most everything, because if you're out in an environment when there's a lot of people talking, I'm not a part of the conversation for the most part. I can't participate because I don't hear what everybody is saying.
Taking measures to protect harvesters against noise-induced hearing loss is an important consideration for everyone involved in the industry. Hearing aids are just that, aids, and sadly, once your hearing is gone, it's gone forever.
I always say to fellows on the boats now and other people, boy, once you lose it, you can't get it back. And don't take it for granted that it's not going to happen to you.